I need to unmute. Yeah, maybe I need to unmute, right? Oh, I'm talking all this. Yeah. Microphone not working right now. Maybe unmute the microphone. All right, sorry about that, y'all. So what we were saying, since we haven't asked any questions yet, thank you for letting us know there's no sound. Prayerfully, you can hear us now with some sound. Let us know a thumbs up if you can hear us. Camera, check the audio. Mic 1, 2. It's green. It looks like it's good to go. You good? All right. Thank you, sis. Or sissy. Amani on top of that. All right. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace. This is Coach Nyla.
That'll do it. I'm his wife, Coach Fatimah. I thought that was a middle finger. I was like, let me get this person cleared out. All right.
Thumbs up.
And I'm Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
All right.
From this angle.
We the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. With that being said, we're doing an impromptu, interactive, live Q&A. So if you have any questions regarding polygamy, any of the videos that we've been doing recently, any information or whatnot, you might be shy to ask other individuals, or people might be coddling you, or you just kind of want to know the truth. We're going to give it to you as it is. Feel free to chime in, put question marks in front of your questions. We will prayerfully get to them. And as I was saying, for those who were not muted, we're going to go as long as we can, or at least until my laptop battery dies. We've been out here trying to figure stuff out, and we'll be calling our little outdoor studio here. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share some stuff. Any questions? There was one question about jealousy already from IG. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share. The ladies can address the jealousy stuff, relatively common question, and I'm not going to get caught off by continuing talking.
You want to start it? You want to start?
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter because our answer will be the same always. The question was specifically, do your wives ever experience jealousy? Now, we've actually shot a video together and we've trained together specifically about jealousy and how that is natural. It's normal. But it's about controlling one's state of mind and emotions. So we go, we feel like it's abnormal to experience jealousy. It's abnormal to think that you won't because we're created to embrace our families, to nurture them. I don't care if it was a kitten when I was little. If somebody else picked up my kitten, I'm like, look now, it's mine. And we do come from a culture that says we're not to share. We're not to work together. We're supposed to take ownership over things, tangible things like husbands. And but yeah, we always train and discuss how jealousy is a natural thing. So don't beat yourself up when you feel jealousy. Only time you need to check yourself is when that jealousy is out of control and it turns into envy.
Right.
And because what's the difference? Because some people say it's the same thing. They're not the same.
Yeah. Well, how I look at it is that, jealousy, like my co-wife said, is natural, it's natural. It's a natural emotion. And it's definitely how you handle it and how you deal with those emotions. But envy, I look at jealousy as like, okay, I like what this person has, or I want what this person has, but then envy is like, I don't want that person to have what they have.
You don't care if they lose it.
Yeah, I'm okay, and I'm happy about it. If they don't have it, if they're miserable, then I feel good about that. And that's where it gets really ugly. So jealousy is there because we have good emotions and we have bad emotions. We have where they say we all have our inner shaitan or our inner devils and stuff like that. We're human. We have the good and the bad and the ugly. It's just not allowing that ugly to rear its ugly head and come out in evil ways and things as far as that. And like my co-wife said, we do come from a society that states that you have to be, this enemy, or, sometimes sisterhood is all good unless, that sister is sharing your husband, or sometimes it's not even that sisterhood is all good because it's like, okay, well, if she got something that I want, then, we shouldn't even be cool if she is striving for something that I don't have yet. And a lot of it does come from our own insecurities, our own negative core beliefs, our own negative thoughts that we have. So once we learn how to hone that in and be well within that space, then we'll know how to handle our jealousies. We'll know how to handle the uncomfortable or negative emotions, if you will.
Right.
Okay, so when you say once we learn how to, because if people are looking for some how to hone it in and get control of it and stuff like that, you establish that it's natural, okay, and that once we hone it in, affecting our behavior, okay. So what are some practical steps? Maybe one or two things they could do to be able to hone it in, because that, again, it's a natural human emotion, but people get introduced to dynamics they've never gotten introduced before when it comes to polygyny.
Well, first, recognizing, that is an issue or a problem. So being able to be aware of that is a thing. And then after that, to look into yourself and what's good about you. Celebrate the things that make you special, that makes you loving, that makes you caring, and minding your marriage. When it comes to polygyny, the thing is, sometimes we're looking at what the other one has or what the other one may be doing or what the other one has been around longer or whatever, or hasn't been around longer and is a new thing, whatever the case may be. Knowing that those things are things that we're projecting in our lives and overthinking within ourselves, just being able to say, okay, this is something that I'm thinking. Is it true? Am I just going overboard? Am I not celebrating me? Is there something that I want to work on, that I'm not happy with? Because that's the thing. We have to be happy within ourselves. We have to love ourselves and celebrate ourselves. And when we're able to do that, then, not being cocky and conceited and everything like that, but just pretty much being aware that we are great, that we are beautiful, that we have, good within us, and working on honing that and being better us's, so to speak, instead of worrying about what we don't have against someone else and what they may have.
Okay, good stuff. Well, let us know where you're from. What country, what city, what state, where you at? Nadira, Sissy, Erica, Joe, Tony, Sumaya, Naish, Clothing, Yusuf the Soul. Where y'all checking in from? All right, let us know. If you have questions, put question marks in there. Now, I did see a question that said, did you see the question fully?
It said, would a husband dare to marry again if his first wife is opposing?
Would a husband dare to marry again if his first wife is opposing? The short answer, yes. Yes. You have to look at it a few different ways, because when you say that, think about just how that's even phrased. Would a husband dare to? How many people really want to? How many women in general respect a man that's controlled by a woman? Whether it's his mother, the whole mama's boy thing, or anything else. All right. So we have to understand something. A man still should be a man being able to make decisions that he feels is best for the family. All right. And moving forward, if it's just two people in the family, he's still making a decision because he's the leader of that family. They're the one that comes under his umbrella. So will a man dare to? Absolutely. Now, are there best practices and ways to go about that? Yes, we encourage you have open, honest dialogue and discussion, because a wife may just oppose it out of jealousy, out of fear, out of insecurity, out of a plethora of reasons. And a man may want to get married again for a plethora of reasons. So the question goes into who determines what's more important in moving forward and who actually has that decision on their lap. All right, now let brothers know, because they ask me, my wife's going to be this, she's going to be hurt, she'll be feeling this way, or I'm not sure, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. And, you're going to have to go over that hump one way or the other, no matter how cooperative or willing that she is to participate in polygyny. So there's a choice to make as a man. Now, I'm talking to the brothers because they ask me, I get this all the time. All right, listen, you have to determine whether or not, one, you qualify and are able to practice polygyny, or if you're going to strive to become worthy of doing such a thing, because there's a heavy responsibility. If monogamy in marriage is a responsibility, then that's what my wife said. You have to be more than twice the man to go ahead and do it, because it's more than double the responsibility. There are dynamics that you're going to have to confront and deal with and overcome that you have not had to deal with in monogamy or being single at all, right? So one, how important is it to you for whatever reason? And whether or not you're going to capitulate and say, all right, I'm going to now resent this person who stopped me from doing something I wanted to do, or you just say, you know what, I'm not ready for it, I'm not going to do it, I respect that, and go that route. All right, so you have to weigh the pros and cons, because then there's the threatened part. Because when you say something like, well, they dare go ahead and do it, then it's like, okay, we've gotten comments and we've discussed and even made videos about it regarding threats. There's threats. Well, I'm going to take the kids, or I'm going to leave you, or I'm going to make your life miserable as hell and get revenge. We just did a video about that recently, right? So men have to consider that. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to go ahead and utilize or be the victim of these type of threats and feelings? And how is that going to affect their relationship going forward? So that's a decision a man has to make. It's not for a woman. They got to make that decision. The women, at least in Islam, the women were not addressed in the ayah. It's up to the man. And the man's supposed to be the one that leads the family, be the imam of the family. That's his decision. Now, that doesn't mean you just go like a tyrant and, you know, your unilateral decision, don't care about the family. I'm going to do this because I want to. Ha! Nah, that's not really how life works. But you do have to weigh whether or not something is that important to you to move forward, whatever vision it is for your family, whether it's having a larger family or whatnot, or, you know, or not doing it. Or if you feel that you've been stifled in a certain way, or somebody manipulating to a certain decision, or you capitulating to something, then there goes that, am I going to grow into some resentment? But that a man has to make that decision. That's why we talk, and I talk specifically so much about emotional intelligence. So hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah,
Anything to add on that?
Since that, yeah.
Anything you want to add though?
No, I was looking at bring it back down.
All right, so we got one person chiming in from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Erica, welcome.
London, England.
All right, London, where you see them at?
UK.
Oh, London. J.O. Word. Say Stinson, what advice you have for a man that struggles to understand the importance of building a foundation relationship with the second wife? Well, a couple of things. We have these type of questions are deep questions. They're not just a one hit. Oh, I got the answer. I was on this, I got the thing from this live cast. That's not really how it works. But it's a good question. Well, since we talk about emotional intelligence and making sure you understand what the measurables are as well as the intangibles, we talk about it deeply in our polygamy masterclass. So if you're not familiar with it, matter of fact, I'm going to start one next Sunday on June 5th. I haven't even announced it, putting nothing out, but we're going live on our 5-part our next session for our polygamy masterclass is going to be 5 parts. Where we go into a lot more detail there, because you have to increase your emotional intelligence and be able to deal with challenges again that are not part of the monogamous dynamic. So what advice do you have for men that struggle to understand the importance of building a foundation relationship with the second wife? One book I would suggest right off the bat is Winning with People by John C. Maxwell. That would help. It's probably even on YouTube for free as an audiobook. Ramsey asks, how many children do we have? We have 12 children. I have 10 biological children and 2 bonus children from Coach Nyla. It's a dozen. I mean, well, yeah. All right. So was there another question over here? Let me see. Open up this on IG, trying to get close.
Benefits.
Beneficial raising children. I understand the beneficial value of raising children in the family, but is it feasible for a non-children relationship to be a polygamous relationship? I'm in Sacramento, California, 59 years old. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the foundation of the family is the man and the woman. Mm-hmm. So whether that's polygynous or not, it makes absolute sense. So again, whatever your dynamics are, again, we don't live under the same roof. We live within close proximity. So for us, that works better. We have a larger family, and that's our personal values. But some people do tend to make it work from that perspective. So yeah. And at that time, I mean, prayerfully, if we live to be that age, most of our children ain't gonna be in the house anyway. We're gonna want them in the house. It's gonna be their time for their families and their children, and our grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So yeah, absolutely. We're not gonna be like, all right, well, polygyny's over for us. We're good. Thank you. Nah, but again, being lighthearted. So yeah. All right. Do you have questions? Put question marks in front of the question.
Hey, trying to dad.
I'm gonna ask the question. She says, I just wonder why you always refer to yourself as coaches. Because we're coaches.
Because we are.
We're not counselors. We're not therapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, or anything that ends with an ist, nor do we want to be. But we are coaches. So instead of me, I know some people like, well, why are you saying, hey, Coach Fatimah, hey, Coach Nyla? Because we do. Now, do we do that at home and outside the camera? No.
We offer coaching. No. So that's what we do, y'all.
Right. So if you want coaching and counseling with Coach Nyla, Coach Fatimah, go to CoachFatimah.com or CoachNyla.com. New Jersey representing. And wa alaikum assalam. What up to everybody gives us salams. We see it. We kind of say it verbally. How can I kindly advise my wives about their passive-aggressive behavior towards each other? Well, you know what? Let me see if I can put this on screen. Oh, you on IG, so you can't even see it.
No.
There's something. Let me see if I can find this file. No, not gonna find the file because it's gonna take too long. But I'll put it on the screen for what's the name? YouTube and IG, and for future viewing. There's 7 different spheres that you deal with when it comes to polygyny. So if you have 2 wives, these are what I'm going to share with you. If you have more than that, then you just pretty much add, and that's that many more spheres. So let me share it. How do I get this on? I don't want to share the screen. Document. 7 identities. Yeah, that's not. Oh, wait. Give me 1 second, yo.
Your brother said he got 2 wives.
Oh man, yeah, we dying. We only got a couple minutes left anyway. I'm not gonna be able to do it on here, just in because my battery's dying, and you on IG, you won't be sit anyway. Nevertheless, go to polygamymasterclass.com. You'll be able to download. I believe it's in the report, but it's the 7 identities. And we also have a video on YouTube. Literally, we have over 400 videos on YouTube. So if you're on IG or Facebook and you haven't really seen it and got into detail on our playlist or whatnot, go there. Okay? This question for the ladies. Do you wives ever go out on your own, just the 2 of you together? I don't. Wait. Do you wives go out on your own? So just y'all 2 together.
We eat, we
Simple
shop,
answer,
we go to the store. All types of stuff.
They do it so often that they forget the vlog. Like, you know what, people want to see y'all vlogging, shopping together and all this stuff. Like, oh, we forgot.
Yep.
So
That's true.
And then sometimes you need the kids to go and hold the camera and the gimbal and all that kind of stuff, and they might not be available or they forget.
We wanting to do our stuff, our thing sometimes.
Right.
We need to have one of the kids as our vlogger, our camera person when we go out.
Yeah, I literally got probably about 5 minutes left, if that. So if y'all got some questions, jump in with the questions. If not, we might just stay with IG for a second. But if you got some questions, go ahead, feel free to put them in. Not download your polygamy roadmap at polygamymasterclass.com. If you have any personal questions or something that you don't want us to put out on social media, feel free to email us at support@outstandingpersonalrelationships.com.
But he asked about them being petty toward one another. Did we answer that?
No, we're talking about 7 different relationships. But yeah, I guess that's a good thing. She's talk about your question, bro, about your wives being petty towards each other. Have a discussion with each of your wives about your expectations, and emotional maturity. All right. It's not like you're sitting down a child, like, well, these are the things that I want you to do, and you have to understand this and that. It's that you have to have certain expectations as an adult male, an adult man running the family, and what you expect from your wives as adult, mature women, and at least striving in that direction of maturity. All right. It's just simple respect. Sometimes the courtesy of a stranger and respect is more than those that are in our inner circle. And we should understand that we make sure that we are giving the basic respect to another human being, another creation of Allah Ta'ala. All right. Pettiness and cattiness is another thing that is called, but having an open, honest conversation with her, each of them individually, about what your expectations are. So even if they're not doing it for this other person, they're trying to do it for you, to please you, to make you happy, because you're going to have a problem with them, because it's your responsibility. And this puts you in the middle. All right. It's a little quagmire here. It's your responsibility to protect your family. And if you need to protect your family from your family, it becomes really muddled. That's why you kind of ask that question. Like, this is ridiculous. I love these people. This is my family. I'm trying to take care of. I need to protect them. But now they're acting foolish with each other. All right. And it is like children because it's childish. But being able to handle that means you got to increase your leadership and your influence, but be direct with them at the same time. And you're going to get stuff like, why are you taking her side? First of all, you ain't taking no side. You're taking the right side and trying to get your family where it needs to be. But we got to increase your leadership influence to get that to where it needs to be. And you should know what triggers or what emotional abilities you have to weigh in on that. Because if they want to please you as the husband, that's part of pleasing you as a husband, making sure there's peace in the family. You're not the one acting a fool.
Sometimes you letting them know it's happening and you see it speaks volumes. because some brothers don't even know what's going on. That there's pettiness and passive aggressive behavior going on, and some women are completely they don't have the self awareness. Some to know that their husband sees it. So just saying, I see what's going on and I don't like that. It's not attractive at all to me. Sometimes we got to get real specific on what we find beautiful, what we find attractive. And I've known brothers to say, you know what, I don't find that attractive, that quality of attractive in you, that passive aggressiveness that I'm seeing. Getting called out in that way, sometimes that speaks volumes because some women don't know that their husband knows that's going on. And if he goes, I see it, I don't like it, it's not attractive, and especially if you're a Muslim, I'm speaking to the Muslim very quickly, there's no room for it. It's passive. The word aggressive is still there. You don't have to like everything. You're likely not going to like everything, but there needs to be respect.
I just saw a question.
All right.
Okay. How does a man approach a woman about the conversation? I think he said he wasn't Muslim, but he's from Sacramento, and he was wondering how should he approach a woman with this conversation.
Yeah. All right, we're here, y'all. Improvising. Laptop died, but the show must go on. And goes to go.
At the beginning,
Y'all can hear us?
You guys can still hear us. We still see you.
Let us know if you guys can hear us.
They can hear us. They good. That's how it's used. Go ahead, talk something.
Okay, what does it say? What says that?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that here. Yeah, improvising is what we do. Different dynamics in our little outdoor studio.
Great.
Yeah, so how about let's see. All right, if y'all still there, we switched up some stuff. We back. See if I can get to questions. Do you have, let me see if this will come up. Yes. Do you have a how-to program towards polygamy? Yes, we do. We actually conducted a men's 4-part polygamy masterclass, as well as a women's 4-part polygamy masterclass. If you go to polygamymasterclass.com, we did that so it will be easy for you. You can get all the details. Matter of fact, I'll be starting a 5-part live polygamy masterclass this next Sunday. So about 7 days from now, on June 5th, I believe that is, I'll be going live for our next 5-part polygamy masterclass. Now, the people who already purchased the previous masterclass have access to every single one we're doing this every quarter of this year. So that will be a great benefit for those who just joined. This one will not get the previous worksheets and everything else, but they will get this going forward. So polygamymasterclass.com, you get all the details. All right. Post the link. We on the phones right now. Polygamymasterclass.com, or since you're on IG, go to our bio. The link is right there. Cameroon in the house. Welcome. How much time does it normally take for a man to decide whether or not he wants to go ahead for a second marriage after a woman shows interest in being a second wife? Who knows? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? That type of detail and a man making a decision, contemplating stuff like that, we don't really have the desire to go and talk with other men and start conversing about, hey, you know, this is so interesting, I'm thinking, and we don't really have those type of circles. You know what I'm saying? Some people could be instantly. You just have to get some things together. Other people could take longer. So there's not really some average in between there. You know what I'm saying? So
it's just like
it's really sad when the husband goes to the co-wife, leaving the initial wife alone. We used to live under the same roof, and I could hear them from my room and couldn't sleep all night. Yeah, we don't, you know, that's not, we don't roll like this. Okay, let me see. I'm scrolling on here looking at the questions from YouTube and Facebook, y'all, because y'all wondering. How do you get both your co-wives to be so cool with one another? Well, that's a good question. It's a really good question. One, I set my expectations, but also married well. Okay. So even when they weren't so cool with one another, they were still cordial and respectful. All right. So that's the minimum that I would accept as a man, to make sure that I'm not choosing somebody to be part of my family that is not going to be having the same principles for my family and be able to follow my leadership. That's not going to work. So one, you got to choose well. All right. Second, by speaking to each of them, let them know my expectations and what I want it to be, and increasing my leadership skills and influence to show both of them the drive I have for the family, direction I want it to go, and what it should look like. And allowing them their own time and their own space, not forcing them together, not doing all this type of stuff, but allowing them their own time and space to process things, to see that they had the time they want, they got the space and everything that they need, but this is also what I want of my family and how I want it to look. All right. And there's some things I will accept and things that I will not accept, you know, which is the going back and forth, the cattiness, the me running over here, complaining over here, you do this and she does that. You know, I had to make sure that I was disciplined in that area. So with that, and then being able to trust me with that and recognizing the vision for the family, I believe they made an intelligent decision to move forward from there. But that's the part I played, and that's a part that I played, but everybody had to play their part. So it's not just how did I do it, but to think that I did not have a part in facilitating that and just demonstrating leadership, then you would be foolish, because then you have others who say, oh, it's the wives who make all of this and this and that. No, it's not all one or the other. It's all of us working as a cohesive unit. And some people don't recognize that, but it's important that the man allowed to be able to facilitate that in a way where it's not extreme on either end. All right, so hopefully that helped King Feisal.
It's not just that, it's that we had conversations one-on-one and didn't make it about being his wives. So we wear all kinds of hats. So we got to know each other, ask each other how we grew up. We got to ask questions so that we're not sitting here assuming, you know, of the other. So I'm like, we're not just his wives. We do all types of things outside of just simply be married to Coach Nazir. So getting to know one another, just like you would anybody else that you want me. Oh, Coach Fatimah, that ain't, y'all married to the same man. I'm grown. So I don't let people tell me who I can and cannot be friends with. And some people did, well, if I was you, I wouldn't be cool with it. If I was you, well, you know what, you're not me. And we're in the same family and you're not in this family.
Right.
So I don't talk to everybody the same, and I don't give everybody the same treatment. So you're not in this family for a reason, probably because your stank attitude. So they don't get to tell you how to act. So we really just sat down and had a conversation and talked, and a lot of different things resonated from my co-wife to me, and just some similarities growing up, and just really getting to understand the story of one another, not just to hear each other talk. Because I don't talk to people and act like I care about them just to be nosy. I don't do that. If I'm talking to you, then I'm going, okay, I need to talk to this person, and I value what I'm going to hear. Judgment. So we just really we talked and started to know each other outside of just being wives, and that's really powerful.
It's definitely having that desire to create that connection. It's just like Coach Fatimah said, just like Coach Fatimah said, just like Coach Nyla said. We all played our part. And it's having that desire and having that emotional maturity to want to do it, to want to be a part of the family, to want to build the dynamic, to want to connect with one another. So, once people get that together, the desire of wanting to grow, the desire of wanting to connect, the desire of wanting to win, then it starts to fall into place.
Indeed. All right, so So Kit said, I checked in late, so I don't know if you already addressed this to the brother. If AO, how do you put a stop to spats between your wives, or do you let them deal with it on their own? It's not my responsibility to put a stop to it, but I can, if something is brought to my attention, then one, I don't like it. My wives know my personality. I don't like that. We are adults. All right, we're parents. We have a lot of stuff going on. And the last thing, when you say spat, that means it's something that's really not that important. Okay. And being catty and stuff like that. So I'll just bring up and try to get some clarity on the situation. Usually, if I'm displeased with something, I don't like something, that's usually enough to kind of at least have them reflect on it. But it's not something that's at this point and their level of growth and personal development. I mean, when you work with someone every day that's working on their mindset, they're working on themselves spiritually, they're working on themselves culturally, and being the best person that they can be, they tend to crush anything that gets negative leaning or something that goes longer than it needs to. So you might have some people that might go a week or hold a grudge or all this type of stuff, and they're killing and hurting themselves inside, even if they think they're affecting the other person. When in reality, when you grow and you work on that, you recognize, you know what, let me check that, because it's me. I control my feeling, my state of mind, and everything else. So allowing them to grow, speaking individually, but again, I'm not the one that's pulling the strings and this guy that's doing this back and forth. No, but I'm gonna ask you. I want you to understand something. Listen, because when a brother's asking a question like that, they're asking from what can I do from my perspective to help that. So sometimes they not want to hear what the sister's doing, because sisters, they're mature adults. I don't control that. I can help encourage, I can help water, try to cultivate it, all that. But like I said, I picked well. All right. So on a base level, there's respect, there's courtesy, and so on. But when there's spatters or something like that, somebody might not like, might not be feeling a certain way. One, they check the hormonal issues and see what time of the month it may be, because it could be hormonal stuff. It could be something that's real. It could be something else that might be assumed. But if I express my concern about something, try to get clarity on it, that usually kind of lets it not go that much further.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, about even getting the clarity, asking the questions, and stating your feelings about, not just your feelings, like your position on it, as a man, as the husband, as a leader, as a man, where it's, getting to the meat and potatoes of the nitty-gritty, and also getting into things, because you may have to ask that question like, are you sure that that's what it is, or are you maybe you're reading more into it than what it is, or something on the lines of that. Because sometimes just asking those questions and hearing it from someone that you respect and trust and things like that helps them to understand, helps us as women, as wives to understand, like, okay, well, you know what? He wants better. He wants more, and there may be still some emotions there that's like, well, you're taking a side. Like they're saying, you're taking a side. Like, look, I'm not taking a side. I need you to sit there and ask yourself, so those type of things, be firm with your position. Because regardless, yes, we can be adults and grown women and everything like that, but we can be petty, we can be catty, we can have these deep emotions, or we can have these insecurities and these jealousies and everything like that. But being able to say, you know what? I care about where this family is going. I care about you. I care about, this is, this is what I feel about it. This is what my stance on it. But I need you to be able to ask yourself these questions. I need you to check yourself. I need you to do your part, because we all are responsible for our own individual part. So being able to allow us to hear that and say, you know what? What's your part in this? This is my part. What's your part? And I'm pretty sure she's going to have her part too. And we need to be able to hear that from the leader as well.
Any advice how to tell non-Muslim family and friends that about becoming a second wife, and whether let them know before or after? From London. Advice on that?
I guess it just depends on the situation of the person. They're not in your marriage. I'm a big old fan of my marriage, and sometimes people just don't understand what you go through, or what you are going through, or what you chose to go through, whatever case may be wrong. I mean, so if you want to tell them, and whenever you want to tell them, that's up to you. They don't really have a leg to stand on, so to speak, in your, in your marriage, in your married life. Just like you didn't have it in theirs. I'm pretty sure they would come to you like, let me see what they think about, my marrying this person, or my dating this person, or whatever the case may be with this person, listen and everything like that. So it's pretty much up to you. With me, I only told a certain amount of people, like people who I felt that was kind of like important enough to know right away, whatever the case may be. So my mother knew, my grandmother knew, certain stuff like that. But then after a while, everybody started to, everybody knew. But it wasn't like their thoughts on it was none of my business. I didn't care about what their thoughts were about it, because I made the decision. It was my choice, and they are not in it. They're not living it with me. So, just telling them for the sake of just, hey, it's just wanting you to know, that's about it. Other than that, it is what it is.
You don't all see, the thing is, you don't owe everybody your story, especially if you decided you're going to get married. When I got married, the people there that cared about us and loved us were there, and the people that didn't support it weren't invited anyway. So, and that was fine. I felt so great about them not being there, because I didn't want the energy. So sometimes we look for others to validate our movements, and if we're doing what we're supposed to do and it's right and it's supporting our family, if you wait to get everybody's validation and everybody's green lights, you will look up and your life will be over faster than you can snap your fingers, because they're not gonna, they don't look for the wrong people to fall in line on the right thing, because they won't. And then you just be stuck because you're waiting on them to get to where you already are about your marriage. So you just, you're grown, you can get married, and you don't need this external validation. Because they might be like, nah. Our parents weren't leaping for joy when we got married. They were like, y'all too young, y'all too sow your oats and all of that stuff. And if I'd have waited on them, I probably would have never got married. So I had to look at the value in family and having a husband and creating a family that wasn't looking like the one I came from. And they weren't going to support the decision. So why, share my joy with them, and they just going to shoot it down.
I would suggest just weigh the pros and the cons. I mean, if they're gonna bring negativity and try to talk you out and talk this and how this and try to say who you are and so on and so forth, then what's the point? Right now, you're not a second wife because you said you ain't married yet. You know what I'm saying? So it may be coming up.
So, but if there is positivity and support, that's fine. You're gonna deal with the negativity one way or the other. Just depends on when you want to deal with it, before or after. So if it's not gonna add any value, I suggest wait. Hello, man. Me appreciate the duals. Another worse. You mean wife, maybe. I think you mean wife. So it's weird. I'm ready for my husband to have another, let's say, wife. Probably not weird. It's actually a lot of, we hear that quite a bit. Let's see. Okay. All right. We're in different rooms. What hurt me the most? What being intimate, our house is small. We had to join the rooms. It was so painful. That's not. Listen, Jasmine. I don't know what you own, what you come from. We practice polygyny. That means a man who's married to multiple women. Okay, and I hear a lot of your comments talking about you sleep in the same room and all this type of stuff. Not sleeping in the same room, but that you're doing things together intimately. We don't do that. All right. Now, here's the thing. Polygamy means people who have multiple spouses. That means a man can have multiple spouses, one can have multiple spouses. That falls under the umbrella of polygamy. Polygyny means a man who has multiple wives, a husband who has multiple wives. Me, I'm married to each of them. Okay. Polyandry is a wife who has multiple husbands. Then there's polyamory. These are people who have multiple lovers, usually open relationships. Sometimes they are intimate with the same person, all that kind of stuff. So wherever you categorize yourself is where you choose to categorize yourself, but the actions that you are saying are not describing polygyny. They're describing more of a polyamorous relationship. So if you and your husband and your wife, you're all intimate together, that's more of a polyamorous relationship. All right. And people are going to do whatever they choose to do. But we here are pro morals and pro family. Okay. So I keep hearing and I keep seeing it, but I'm going to address it right now. We ain't on that. Okay. We building our families. That's what we do. We practice pure, direct polygyny as it's been known throughout history. We're not going to call it bi polygyny or any other type of stuff that people have been throwing in there. Just let you know where we coming from. So with that being said, we're going to move on to this question. All right. So, okay, this is you again. When you marry a second wife, how did you get the kids to understand as part of the dean or anything because you know the influence of schools, etc.? How do you approach your children about it? Well, listen, we talk about best practices. This is the reason why, because there are two different families. Coach Nyla already had 2 children, and I had, how many children you had? 5 or 6? You had 6 at the time, right? How to count. So we had 6 children. Coach Fatimah had 6, and Coach Nyla already had 2 children. So here's the thing. We encourage people right from the get-go, from the beginning, to educate your children about the forms of marriage. So whether that's monogamy or polygyny. Children are intelligent. The challenge is that adults put their stuff on children as though they can't understand or don't understand. They know what's normal. We have children ranging from ages of 26 all the way down to 4 years old. 26 to 4 years old. So they all experience different types and different forms of polygyny. If they're young, that's all they know. My boys, that's all they pretty much know is, polygyny. All right. Now, my oldest children, my oldest daughter was at the time, she was a teenager, then another one was about to be a teenager. So they were in different stages. They knew monogamy. That's all they pretty much knew. They weren't educated really on polygyny other than, Islam had polygyny, previous cultures, but we didn't go into that structure. So one is to educate them, period, whether it's part of the deen. And even we have to understand as Muslims, Islam did not bring polygyny. Polygyny already existed. Islam is the only religion that restricted and regulated it. It restricted it to 4 wives at one time. No more than that. Then it provided rules so that man would not continually oppress women, because that's what we tend to do as humans. We oppress each other. All right, period. So Islam restricted it. So one is to educate your children on it. Now, for different things that we've done, matter of fact, you can hear our children talking about that in videos that we've done on YouTube. So go to the channel, look at them talking about it, different stuff like that, because we did things wrong, which you can learn from. We did some things right, which you can learn from. So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and learn from and be part of it. Come on now. Video is blurry, sounds not very clear. Look, you had to work with it. That's what we got. My laptop died. Unfortunately, yeah. Look, over here. His first wife, my code does not seem to want to work things out smoothly. And first keep alienated. Is this normal? Yeah, it is. It is actually. Many co-wives don't want to participate. We, be around each other, really upset the significance of it. Yeah, and things can be new. It takes time, but it also takes alignment with your core values and working on it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not working on yourself personal development wise, you can stay in that position for 10, 15, 20, 30, the entirety of a polygamous marriage. And some husbands don't want either.
Yeah, I was gonna say some husbands don't want that, and some wives don't have a desire at all. It's not that anybody did anything wrong; they just don't want to talk. I have people like, "How do you even say co-wife?" I said, "I say it so much it don't bother me," and that's who she is. So they're like, "I don't know how you do that. I don't want to meet mine. I don't want to talk to them." They've been married to the same man for a very long time. Some people just don't want to. And they don't hold anything against each other. They don't want to.
Dope Law, what's up, bro? Peace. Assalamu alaikum. All right. Appreciate the kind words, sir. You always representing, being supportive. We appreciate you, man. Glad you're able to check in. We're going to try to get back on some of this. All right. How to keep marriages interesting and unique in polygyny long term without competing or feeling jealous of what the other is doing. Okay, probably couldn't hear you.
Minding your marriage. We say it a lot.
Minding your marriage.
Focusing on what your individual marriage looks like and what you want it to look like. You are not married to your co-wife. Your co-wife is not married to you. You guys are not married, all intertwined together. So our marriage dynamic is going to look different. Their marriage dynamic is going to look different. It's not my business what that looks like over there. It's not, and vice versa.
Right.
So when it comes down to it, it's minding your marriage and having your personal marriage mission statement. There actually he has the different identities, the marital identities that can kind of give you some clarity on that. Because when it all comes down to it, your marital identity is going to be your marital identity over here, and it doesn't intertwine over there. Now, you have a relationship, a friendship with your co-wife, and that's totally different. But to keep it fresh and going and everything like that, that's something that you discuss and that you deal with your husband. And, whether it's polygyny or not, we're monogamously married to him. He practices polygyny, but we practice monogamy because we're monogamously married to him, and so we mind our marriage, and that's the best advice I can give you on that.
So compete with yourself,
right?
How do separate travel plans, like anniversary trips, example, work? Does it happen? Yeah. How do separate travel plans? Just decide to go and do it. All of us don't need to be involved. We don't like, hey, we can come for her anniversary. We'll do that. Don't say because our anniversaries are different dates and different people. So, it's my responsibility as a man to make sure that we are being and having our own special dates and special stuff with each other. You know what I'm saying? So the other person may know of the date and all that kind of stuff, or send a card or whatever. But, that's really simple stuff. You don't. Just because we're close, we have one family and so on, doesn't mean that everything is participated in this big, just one family type thing. Yeah, we have family events, we have family meetings, stuff like that, but we do also do our own things, separate wise as well.
Well, also, just in case you have this kind of idea, because people do ask, like, how does the days work and the time work and things like that. So that could be another thing too. So. Like how we do it and how Coach Nyla does it, it's every 24 hours switch. So if it depends on how things are situated and things are structured, because it can be where, like you said, you have your own special days and different things like that. It can be where the anniversary could fall on a day where he is over, spending with me or whatever the case may be. And if that's the case, it can actually be ahead of time. You know when your anniversaries are, you know when your special moments are. This is not like something that's brand new. So it can be planned ahead of time where, things are planned and scheduled around that type of thing. So things are just and are fair. So if that was the type of thing, like how does that work? Then yeah, it's pretty much looked at ahead of time, scheduled ahead of time, and the days are, given accordingly, or spent accordingly. And so yeah, and those special days are spent, with the person, type of thing. So, if that made any sense. Just to clarify a little bit.
Yes, man, the African. Says, mashallah, thanks for sharing this information. Allah make it easy for all involved. Polygyny, and me. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. For us, it's getting dark. For you, it might be coming around noon, or depending on if you're in the US or Oxford time or something. Is that palm trees? No, I don't think we have palm trees in this area. Not here, not in this area.
It's a struggle too. Babies.
All right, any other questions? That's what we're looking for. Any questions? I know I'm scrolling trying to see, but they could let you know where to check on them for counseling and coaching, as well as other projects.
So that's training, counseling, coaching for the women. You can check us out, CoachNyla.com.
And CoachFatima.com.
So yes, and check out PolygynyMasterclass.com because we have some great training on, we have a Polygyny Masterclass, the King's Edition, Men's Polygyny Masterclass, and the Women's Polygyny Masterclass that my co-wife and I actually did together in the Men's Polygyny Masterclass that Coach and I did conducted. And inshallah, he will have another one coming up that will be a live Polygyny Masterclass. Inshallah. God willing, for those who.
It says, question for Nyla. When did your children meet? Your husband, and were they aware you'd be the second wife?
When did they meet him?
Years
Actually,
ago.
the interesting thing is that for those of you who don't know, we actually knew each other well before I became second wife, and before I even thought about polygyny. And I was actually married once before this, married and divorced. So they actually met him well before, they knew he was like, they met him well before we got married, before I even thought of marrying, anything like that. So yeah, so it's not a traditional what people would think, as far as polygyny dynamic of how it came to be. So yeah, so they met him well before that, and when that happened, as far as me being a second wife and things like that, yes, they knew because my daughter's still fairly young, but my kids, they knew because I spoke to them about polygyny and marriage and what it would look like and things like that. Because not only was I entering into polygyny, I was coming from a different dynamic of being a single mother. I was a single mother before, got married, got divorced, was a single mother again, and so being able to prepare your children for a different dynamic was something that I decided to do.
All right, cool. Sunshine says, why don't you keep your marriage private as it should be? Maybe in that tone, maybe not. I don't know. All right, cool. First of all, listen. Why don't you keep your marriage private as it should be? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. And I'm going to answer it as I've answered something similar before. We had to make a decision when it comes to polygyny, because that's not about whether or not your marriage should be private, because I'm pretty sure you likely don't feel the same way about other people in their marriages that are monogamous. Nobody's saying, yo, why is your marriage out here like, hold on, this celebrity couple, this person here, this email, this individual, why don't you keep your stuff private? Why are you telling everybody you got married? Nah, this is about polygyny. Let's get real. And this is what we did. We had to weigh whether or not the benefit would outweigh the challenges, the negativity, the shade, the slick remarks, All right. And we figured, you know what? Since we didn't have the resources, we didn't have the people to go to, we didn't have the examples that we can see, because you have to see it before you be it. We didn't have that. So after successfully growing and learning these things and doing what I call the trial and error method, trying stuff, this didn't work over here, trying to get this information, these people hiding it, because the most successful polygynous marriages are just kept private, quiet, behind the scenes. So we had to weigh whether or not we want to be cool where we are right now, where we're growing and everything else, and stay just kind of behind the scenes, or do we want to give back and benefit more people? We chose the latter. All right. We chose the latter. Now, it may not matter to you, but for the tens of thousands of people that we've benefited, for the hundreds of thousands of just views in different areas that we got, for the many different du'as that we get from almost every continent, from many different countries, that to us is a blessing and rewarding in and of itself. To have our children shown, to get rid and bust these myths and these stereotypes and these arrogant, stupid comments that are filled with venom and vitriol, we chose to step out here. We chose to show a better way. All right? Because we didn't come from some background that's weak. We didn't come to say, you know what, black man, you nigga, stay in your place. Who you think you is coming out here making a movie with nobody but black executives running stuff all the way from top to bottom? You need some white folks in here to make it work, because that's what they told Eddie Murphy with Boomerang. All right? We didn't come from that weakness. We didn't come from imams or pastors or ministers or people behind saying, you know what, this is a scriptural form of marriage, so let us show you how that's going to work should you choose that. No, we came from regular, broke dysfunction. We came from a family where there was cheating going on, there's alcoholism going on, there's drugs going on, there's abuse with children going on, there's sexual molestation. This stuff was the norm. So why we chose not to be private? Because we chose to do better than being private and keeping the truth a secret and keeping the ways just to ourselves. And we will address people that got a problem with that. You got a problem with that? Keep on strolling, keep on pushing. You think you can find the information somewhere else? I challenge you to bring it. I challenge you to put it out where it's a pro-moral fashion of doing it and building a family. And I'll stack mine up against yours. So that's why. Like it or not, take it or leave it, that's where we stand. Any other questions?
That'll do it.
Well, there it is.
That'll do it. Somebody said our practicing polygyny in public is helping to educate people, so that's why. You know, and Coach Nazir did touch on it, but someone over here on IG gets it. They get a whole lot of people get it. So might want to head over there.
It is what it is. And as a Muslim, we know the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah loves the one who benefits the most people. Benefits the most people. So, you know, we want our benefit to outlast us, even though it's not even just about our family. But we live in a time right now, because you have to think, and you know, we thinkers. So we live in a time right now where I could be sitting here sharing this information as I'm getting grays in my beard that my great grandchildren will have, because I don't know my great grandfather or grandmother or where they came from, but I do know along our line they practice polygyny. I do know they came from West Africa, so I do know those things, even though part of my history was taken from me. So we have an opportunity to leave a legacy to benefit my own children with my DNA generations from now, should Allah Ta'ala allow that. And I want to get those blessings, because 3 things follow you after death. And one of those things is righteous children who pray for you. So there's a whole nother level of this understanding and benefiting people, because we all strive to be greedy for blessings, greedy to try to have deeds that weigh heavy on the scales, on the mizan, on the day we need it most. That's in addition to just the common sense of benefiting others. So, yeah, because I'm starting to get hoarse now. Anyway, with that being said, Ramsey asked a question. Do you live together in one house? No. Separate houses, close in proximity? Yes. All right, boom, boom. Would you be hosting the program, or would you be hosting programs in West Africa? I feel your work is super relevant to West African culture. Invite us. Invite us. We're not just gonna go instead of shop. You know what I'm saying? But invite us. Support at outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. We're about to wrap it, as you see, or maybe you can't see, but it's gonna be Margaret. Probably like 1 to 2 minutes. Y'all probably hear the Dan getting called in a second. So, any other last little questions? Then we're here for that. But polygamymasterclass.com if you want to get more information about polygamy specifically, with how to practice it, the different stages people go through and grow through, and what we would suggest as best practices, and also the things to watch out for, because I've made a number of mistakes myself, and if you don't get the lesson from it, then you miss the wisdom. So, you know, we are grateful to have gotten to this point to be able to share and equip and empower many, many others. Everything safe here? Closing words, final thoughts? Nothing?
Get out of the room next week. Come up out of there.
Just definitely check out polyganymasterclass.com to get the information, as well as be a part of the newsletter and the email list, so you can get the information on the new programs that we have coming out, as well as the different events and go live, what we are going to put out on our YouTube channels and different things like that. You know, you get that exclusive information. So make sure you check that out and check us out at centerpersonrelationship.com. Sign up for Polygyny Masterclass if you haven't yet at polygynymasterclass.com.
All right, y'all. We had a good time. I hope you did too. So with that being said, we're going to rock out with GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally,
Loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a high level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
All right, IG. You have a good rest of your day. Thanks for showing up. Thank you for your du'as. Salams to you all. We'll see you
I'm
guys
turn the
in the
camera
next
around. Let
one.
me see what's I was trying to. I'm not gonna turn around. Yes.
We out, y'all. All right.
That's IG.
IG over there.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.